Fantastic. What was your word of the year for 2023 then?
Opportunities.
It was. That's what I've got written down. Oh, it's like blankety blank this, isn't it?
Yay! Yay! Very much.
Hey everybody, it's John Lamberton here alongside my good friend and business partner, Mr. Jason Brockman. We are here for another episode of the Ambitious Lifestyle Business Podcast, where as always, it is our job to help you get more customers and make more money without just working harder. So without further ado, let's dive straight into this month's episode.
Hey everybody, welcome to our Christmas special. Once again, it is time for a Christmas edition of the Ambitious Lifestyle Business Podcast. For those watching on YouTube, you can see Jason's lovely snowy background there.
Nice, isn't it? It's nice. I like to have a bit of a background on my videos, as you know, and we thought we'd have something a bit different this year.
It is very distracting for me to sit here watching all this dandruff falling on your shoulders.
Taking my head around. So, ho, 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 Christmas it is.
Indeed. Merry Christmas, everybody. It is the 50th anniversary of Merry Christmas, everybody. Noddy Hoda, 50 years of collecting the royalties on that particular Evergreen asset.
Wow, that's not bad, is it? Nearly my 50th too.
It is, yeah. It's less than a year.
Less than a year, definitely. I'll be 50 next year for about 2 years now.
So for those who haven't listened to one of our Christmas specials before, I'm sorry to inform you, you're not getting a guest today. You're not getting any insight. You're just getting me and Jace having a chat about the year gone by and the year coming up, our hopes, our aspirations, the books we've read this year, or the book that Jason has read this year. Is that right?
A couple of contenders, you never know.
Ooh, well, last year you did have a short list of 2.
Yes, that was quite a short list.
It was a very short list. So I've written down some of the stuff that we've done this year because it's always good to take a little look back. Starting with our 100th episode of this very podcast.
That was a really special moment, wasn't it? We invited lots of people into a live version of our podcast, answering lots of questions and things. Yeah, that was really, fantastic thing to do for 100th episode. It
was fun, wasn't it? It was a little bit chaotic, a little bit, we didn't know what was going to happen, whether the tech was going to hold up. But yeah, it was good. That was our April edition. I was going to say, what number was it then? Of course, it's number 100. If you're going back and listening to the episodes. Oh dear. Quality broadcast. What else has been going on this year in terms of, we had another live event, didn't we, in June?
First time ever, yeah, because our 1%ers together. That was again a pretty special event, really, with 40 of our 1%ers who came in and joined us for a day of sharing, caring, and lots of learning and things, and really good feedback from that. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was there was a definite appetite, I think, amongst all communities just to get back together again post pandemic. Particularly, I think, with the 1% Club, because the 1% Club launched in 2016 around my kitchen table. We used to have a Plymouth meetup. We grew into kind of originally a nationwide organisation, and then before you know it, we had members in Spain and Japan and New Zealand and America. But it kind of morphed into just an online group, and most of these guys have known each other for years, but never met face to face. And so I think if we heard nothing else over that weekend, more than anything else, I heard the lines, "Oh, you're taller than you appear on the screen. Oh, I didn't realize you were so short. Oh, yeah, you look different." And it was just everybody compared how they're in real life to the Zoom photos. Like, "Oh, you've got legs."
Got legs, yeah. That was a classic number, I think. But it was fantastic to get together. As you say, we hadn't done it since we kind of closed down all the local meetup in Plymouth, really. Which I can't even remember when that was, but it was something like 2018, 17 maybe.
I found that email the other day. I don't know how I found the email. It might have been a Facebook post I found it on. We announced it December 2019, so it might be our fault. We said, by the way, we're stopping people meeting up. So I think somebody somewhere in government got that memo and went, there's an idea. Let's stop people meeting up.
Or maybe they didn't, but or maybe got lost for a few months. But yeah. So that was we've gone and stopped meeting up with everyone, didn't really, and which it's sad, but necessary because of the business that we now have, and the club that we now run. So so it's interesting.
It is definitely that evolution. We were trendsetters, really. If you look back at that period in time, we stopped people meeting up. We were already using Zoom. I was homeschooling the kids already. We were absolute trendsetters.
On point, mate. On point.
Fantastic. If we'd only stockpiled toilet rolls and pasta, we'd have been there. 2023, what else did we do? I got a new book out. The False Exit came out in 2023.
Yes.
Book number 4 in the Lammerton Empire. Also got into the studio, recorded the audiobook for The False Exit. That is coming out next month. That's coming out in January. I don't have an exact release date yet, but Audible have assured me it is coming out in January. They just take a while to polish up my voice and make it sound this good, I believe. But False Exit it's reviewing well. It's selling well. It's, I think, the most niche of my books, which it doesn't necessarily need to be, because it's not a book about exiting your business, but the people who tend to gravitate towards it are those who are considering exiting their business. They're already thinking about, what's my exit strategy? How am I getting out of this thing alive? That's one of the questions I think people ask. And I always kind of have the two mathematical answers, which is one where you and I went to Newbury and just had a discussion with somebody about maybe exiting our business. And on the drive up there, we were like, well, we don't really want to exit. We'll just see what they got to say. And then they said, well, we can get you £2 million. And we went, great, let's take that money and head to the golf course. That then fell apart, which led to us discovering the False Exit. The second mathematical equation is kind of, I heard someone else walk through this last week, and it's like, if you sell a business for, let's say, 5 times annual profits, which is what we were looking at doing with our exit, by the time you pay some tax, you pay some brokerage fees, you pay some lawyers' fees, you maybe pay off some debts, you clear the decks and everything like that. You probably, let's say you lose 20% of that. You've then got 80% of the money. So let's say we sold it for 2 million. We lose about 20% in tax and fees and stuff. We end up with 1.6 million. Brilliant. We got 1.6 million in the bank and no income whatsoever. So in order to get the same profit we had from the business we just got rid of, we would need to put that 1.6 million to work at a 25% yield. Now, what investments do you know that you can get 25% yield from? Where, and I guess for a lot of the listeners, they may say, well, I know exactly where to do that because it's the business I've just exited, but you've probably got a non-compete clause in there. So you need to put that money to work in a sector you probably know nothing about and try and get 25% yield. Or you keep the asset and you do the false exit.
And I think it's really interesting. The start of that conversation was most people who gravitate to it are those who are looking to exit. But actually, it's not a book about people looking to exit. Which actually, a lot of the content of the book is about building the right foundations so that you could, if you want to, and actually what that needs to look like. So it's actually about creating a better business than it is about leaving that better business.
It is,
which isn't the message which comes across with the title, I guess, and what people are naturally finding out about it.
Yeah, it is. And it's much like, I think, John Morello, former guest on the AOB podcast, his book, Built to Sell, is very much the same. It's, yes, you're building a business that you could sell, you could exit, but the kind of the sting in the tail, not the sting in the tail, but the twist at the end of the book is, you don't need to sell now because you've got a business that you love and that runs itself and is built in your shadow, and the systems and the processes and the right people and the vision and the values, they carry all of the weight, and you can nip off and get yourself re-energized. And, if you are Noddy holder, you can go and do a little side project. Slade will always be there waiting for you with your royalty checks. Just one more thing, actually, quickly on audiobooks. Spotify have recently announced that they're including audiobooks in their Spotify Premium. So if you are a premium subscriber on Spotify, you can listen to my dulcet tones for free. Routine Machine and Evergreen Assets are both available to listen to completely free if you are a Spotify Premium member. I don't know what's happening with regards to big ideas for small businesses and all the false exit. I'm guessing that might be rolled out in a future release, but there's at least 20 hours worth of Lamerton there to keep you going in the short term.
Brilliant. That's all I'm going to say. Brilliant.
That's right to me. So other than what we've been up to in 2023, I think the topic du jour has been AI, hasn't it? The rise of the machines in 2023. How have you seen that play out over the year?
I think it's really interesting because it come with a big bang and full of promise and everyone going, oh, it's really new shiny thing to kind of do. And then I think for most people, it's been, I'll have a play with that. I'll have a dabble with it. I'm not going to do much with it, but I'm going to have a see what it can do for me, but it's not really doing what I thought it was going to do. So I probably dropped it and I'll get back to running my business the way I have and I am doing sort of thing. I think for those people who have looked into it a bit more deeper and started to use it, I think they're using it well in terms of saving some time, finding the shortcuts, reducing the amount of legwork that you need to do to run the business. There's, a plethora of tools and things that are built on the back of the large language models. I think, we've had a fantastic coaching call in the 1% group, which looked into more depth to get more from it for those who perhaps have dabbled, didn't get what they were looking for, and then are now able to. But it's an interesting prospect, and I think that governments and that aren't going to ever catch up with how it's the progress that it's going to be making. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it kind of continues out, because no matter how much they'll try to curtail our use of it and things, I think the people that need it to have it curtailed will still have access to it all and be doing it all anyway. So I think it's just going to be interesting to see where that kind of takes us over the next, even 6 months. There are so many tools and just stuff that you can do with it, which blows everyone's mind. The good thing about it is if you do get to grips with it, you've probably got an advantage about probably 99% of other people, because there's only going to be 1%, I guess, that actually use it to any great effect. So I think just a little bit and how it make difference for your business is going to be, it's going to work magic for you.
Yeah, it is in the execution. I think so many people just use it like Google. They're just like, hey, ChatGPT, what's the capital of France? Oh, ChatGPT, write me a blog post. The real beauty, and we heard, the term machine learning is not new, but this is what we're doing. It's machine learning. So knowing that it's machine learning, our jobs are to teach the machines. So the more, and this is what we've certainly discovered with, the 1% Club coaching call we did on AI, my own experience of using it is actually the more you can train the model in how you work, your nuances, your humanity, your personality, who your dream customers are, what your business is about. And actually, rather than, I think one of the sort of key leverage points that we found is, rather than asking the AI a question and expecting them to give you an answer, getting them to ask you the questions and you give them the answer, and then get them to ask you more questions, and just keep, almost treating it as a pretty good intern will help your productivity, will be a great assistant for you. But oh my God, do not trust them to put anything live or post anything or talk live to customers. Expect them to ask lots of questions. The more you answer those questions, the better they become. And I'm a big fan of compounding. This is AI compounding. This is the productivity is the great benefit. It's not being able to churn out social media posts. I can, at the moment, and this may change, but at the moment I can spot AI written social media content a mile off for most people. hat tip to Ian Gluck, one of our 1%ers, because he shared with us on his, in that recent coaching call, oh yeah, I've been using AI for about 6 months. And everyone on that call went, have you? Oh, but you wouldn't know. And he said, that's because I've trained the model so well in me, who I am, what I'm about, the way I talk, the way I don't talk, the words I would never use. The more I've trained the model in that, the more it just acts like me. And how I'm using AI is kind of as a research assistant, as a proofreader, and an editor, a sounding board. I can create different reader avatars and say, okay, here's a sample chapter of my next book. First and foremost, can you tell me where I've contradicted myself from previous books? Has my tone changed from previous books? But also, you as a reader, do you glean the information that I want you to? Do you get the ideas and the information that I'm getting across to you? Because I can say, I'm trying to explain this in this paragraph. Does that achieve my objective? The progress has been phenomenal, though, hasn't it? Certainly over 2023. If you think back, so there's a TV program, I don't know if you've seen it, called Upload. Have you seen this one?
No.
Okay, so it's from the creator of The Office. It's a comedy show, but it's set in a near future whereby before you die, you can upload your virtual avatar to like a heaven type tech, and it's all very futuristic. And in this, they're on series 3 now. Season 1 and 2, which were made in probably 2019 and 2020, they had characters in this called AIs. And the AIs were comedically terrible. They got everything wrong. They were just stood in the corner, walking into walls. And it was just season 3, they can't make that same joke because AI isn't terrible like it used to be. Hopefully I've got that right, because we're using some AI to create a transcript and some summary of this podcast. So we'll see what it comes out with, shall we?
Let's do that. And then we could get it to put it back in and speak it for us so that we don't have to do these talks. It'd be really good, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's what's coming soon, I'm sure.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. I won't need to drive halfway across the country to narrate my next audiobook. It will just be kind of deep faked from me saying, I don't know, 17 key words or 17 sentences.
Welcome to the world of Descript.
Yeah, upload a transcript. It's very interesting because when I was recording the audiobook, in the booth next to me was a voice actor, and she is very, very concerned about her job. AI is going to replace her. Yeah, I said it probably will, but she is still a very capable voice actor. And if she is able to do accents, she's able to do tonality. I said, there's no reason why you can't be the AI. You can't create, hey, I've got this actress. Here's the different range. Here's the different pictures. Here's the different characters. Instead of you physically being able to narrate, let's say 10 books a year, suddenly, because you're AI, you could do 150 books a year. And you can do videos, and you can do corporate promotions, and you could continue to do that for the next 300 years, even after you're dead, and your descendants can still get a royalty every time you do. It's this idea of the robots aren't coming to just take away our jobs. They're coming to help us do the new jobs. This is just like the Industrial Revolution, the Agricultural Revolution, the Information Revolution. It is the computing revolution, that it will change things. And as small business owners have always done, we just need to adapt and roll with the punches and accept that things are going to change.
Yes, indeed. That is what we need to do.
There we go. Is that okay, Mr. AI bot?
Was that okay? Was that take okay?
Yeah, good. Please look after us with the algorithm. Right, so let's look at our kind of words for the year. We always do this every year. Do you remember your word of the year for last year?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. I do, because I went back and listened to last year's episode in preparation for this podcast.
I just asked my AI assistant to go and find it for me.
Fantastic. What was your word of the year for 2023 then?
Opportunities.
It was. That's what I've got written down. Oh, it's like blankety blank this, isn't it? Yay!
Yay! We got a match. Swipe right, swipe left.
So how did that play out? Because you were very keen to exploit those opportunities, find the opportunities, land some opportunities. How did the year of opportunities go?
I think did all right, to be fair. There's probably a few opportunities I could have exploited further, but actually providing opportunities to 1%ers, managed to do that loads. Live kind of helped with that a lot, so to be fair, in terms of getting people together and making those connections that they've already made online, but making them offline, and now you've got them going off visiting each other and all sorts of stuff, which is really good. Doing business with each other and whatnot. Opportunities wise, yeah, no, I think I've done all right actually. We've been doing a bit more travel this year. Seizing those opportunities that we've kind of got. So we've done a bit more travel. We've done fundraising wise. We've had lots of opportunities in terms of, we had the circus at Relay for Life this year, which we're filled with lots of people that would not normally have been there. So raising those opportunities well. So yeah, I think I've done all right, to be fair. I think there's been a few that I could have exploited a bit more, used relationships and contacts a little bit more, but yeah, no, I think not too bad on opportunities.
Have you found that because you were focused on finding and exploiting opportunities throughout the year, that you actually noticed more opportunities?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're not looking for them, they don't come looking for you. Whereas actually, if you're out and looking about and you're making the best use of what's around you, then they certainly did come. Kind of like an open and close sign on the door, isn't it, really? If you've got open sign on there, then opportunities will come knocking. If you close it and you're not looking for it, they tend not to. So yeah, so I find that, yeah, that's definitely more, looking for them, it kind of generates them.
There's so much, I think there's some psychology behind that. I know they did a psychological test with people who describe themselves as lucky, so lucky versus unlucky people. And they set them a task of how they had to read through the newspaper and count the number of negative versus positive headlines or something like that. They had to count the headlines. And all these people had the same newspaper. And the lucky people happened to spot that, like on page 7, the headline said, "Go to the front of the class and collect $250.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's it. They had to count the number of photos. And there was another headline that said, "Stop counting. There are 143 photos." And the lucky people noticed it, and the unlucky people didn't notice it. And it was just this noticing what's around you. I think it's the reticular activating system, isn't it? But yeah, that idea that you are open to opportunity makes you open to every opportunity. You don't need to take everyone, don't need to swing at every pitch, but yeah, it's there.
Yeah, definitely. So, and yours, word of the year? Well, words, I think, if I remember rightly.
Yeah. I was debating whether it was 1 word, 2 words, or 3 words. It was better and better.
Is it good, better, best?
No, I can't remember that. Always do your worst. If you go to Germany, don't eat the bratwurst, isn't it?
Something like that.
That your little saying from last year? What I remember of it?
Nothing like that, but yeah.
Better and better. It was a year ultimately of constant, never-ending improvement. It's the mantra we sing from on this podcast all the time. And literally, I'm looking off to the screen here now because my vision board is on this screen and my metrics are on this screen. And I can tell you that it was a bit of a hit and miss year. On some of my metrics, I've smashed it and I've hit the better and better. On some, I've probably crept home with a better, and on some, I've fallen completely short. I have noticed a correlation on this. The ones I've absolutely smashed out of the park are all 100% entirely reliant on me. I can control that, so I do it. The number of active minutes I walk in a week or in a year, great, I've done that. The amount of money overpaid on the mortgage, done that. The amount of time spent with parents, done that. Holidays booked, yep, absolutely smashed that. where other people are involved, and you know my love of other people, but this is where things start to slide. So, getting my wife's book published this year, well, that hasn't quite happened. I've nudged her and I can't write it for her. AI could. And don't trust. Please don't write a book using AI. Use AI to help you, but do not let it write the book for you. Search engine optimization. As much as I would like to think that's completely under my control, it ain't. I am at the whim of, I think, still Google at the moment, but who knows? Revenue targets. It's like, actually, there's other people in the business as well. There's customers that are involved there. Unfortunately, they decide whether to get their credit card out and cancel or not. So, it's very interesting to see, because I very nearly set my word of the year for 2024 as the same again, just better and better, because that's all I want to do. I want to take the numbers that I've done better at, and I want to do a bit better. And I want to take the numbers where I've not hit it and accept where I am. This is point A. I want to get a bit better from where I am now, point B. But then I thought, where have I fallen down this year? I've fallen down on controlling the controllables. So all of my metrics next year need to be under my control.
I was going to ask you that, actually, because it was interesting. And when I'm doing like one-to-ones with the 1%ers and the goals that they kind of set, the ones where they fall over most is where other people are involved as well. Whether they're waiting for somebody to build their website or waiting for somebody to do this or waiting for somebody to do that, actually, the controllable bits, they tend to smash out the park like you've just managed to do. But the ones that they don't is normally because there's somebody else who doesn't have it at the top of their list of things that they need to be doing.
Yeah. And that's the thing is your priorities are never someone else's.
Yeah, totally. So, my advice, or what we kind of work through, is actually, is that one a good use of your big three things for this quarter, or is it because it's outside of your control? Is there a better one that you can have, or is there a better stage that you get to? That's it. Sorry, mate. That's
but in terms of SEO, I have targeted the number of clicks that I receive from Google. Well, that ain't under my control. Number of inbound links I build, that's under my control. Number of blog posts I write, that's under my control. Number of, I can't control press coverage, but I can control the number of press releases I send out or the number of responses I make to the media. I can, there's so much that when you drill down, you say to yourself, you can't control that. I can't control how many podcasts I appear on next year because I don't run those podcasts. I can guarantee we will do 12. We're routine machines. That will happen. But beyond that, the only thing I can control is the ones I say yes to and making myself available for those opportunities. It's really interesting to see how little you actually can control. And it's very easy to set yourself a target that is outcome focused where you don't control the outcome. So that's so again, I've gone for 3 words there, haven't I? Control the controllables. I mean, you could say controllable is my, or control could be my word of the year, but controllables is what's yours going to be for 2024?
I've been giving this some thought because I know you always ask me this every year. This is probably
you've had a year to think of it, yeah.
I'm going for generate.
Generate.
That's what I'm going for. Generate can mean lots of different things, in fairness, so it's me kind of copying out a little bit in terms of that, but kind of in terms of generate, it's kind of generating time is the main thing, and I think leveraging tech would definitely help me with leveraging more time. I do tend to fill my time quite full with lots of different things, lots of different, you might call them hobbies, but whatever that is, but I do tend to fill them. So I'd like to be able to generate some time, and I think leveraging tech will enable me to do that. But generating, again, the opportunities, I think that worked so well that last year I'd like to be able to generate some more of those, and to put in the time in to make that happen. Again, leveraging tech to enable that, I think is where I'd probably be going. So whether it should relate around tech more than generate, but I think generate my word.
I like that. The only thing I would say is that it's open to so much interpretation.
No.
Like you can say, I made a cake. There you go. I generated a cake.
Yeah, that would definitely be an AI thing. That would. Can you generate a cake for me?
Yeah, 3D printers. Yeah,
absolutely. The day I can
absolutely.
send you that prompt, mate, I'll be making your day, your life.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, I think generate and yeah, opportunity, connections. So just generating, really. I think that's the thing that tied everything together. That was the one word that tied together what I was like looking to achieve. I think.
I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out next year.
So am I.
More than anything, I'm interested if you remember it. Okay.
So am I. I'll be 1 year closer to 50 then. Who knows?
Oh no, you won't. No, you won't. Next Christmas special, you will be 50, or you'll be just coming up for 50.
I will be, won't I?
Yeah.
Okay. So it'll be our 50th. Oh, yeah, nice.
It's not our 50th anniversary. I know it feels like we've been doing this for 5 decades, but we haven't. Yeah, we were the original podcasters, 1974. We started.
Fair enough. Yes, no, that's true. But yeah, that's my word. Generate.
Fantastic. So, in terms of having a year to know that you've got this coming, you know what's coming next, don't you? It's time for your book of the year.
Oh, the book of the year. I love this book.
You teased this earlier, telling me you've got a short list. So
it is a short list. But Merry Christmas, everyone. That was in the cracker last year. Sorry. Yeah, so I think 3 books. It wouldn't be fair for me. Well, the first book's a bit of a cheat, I guess, really, because it's one of yours, and I think it's probably one of the better ones in terms of everything. And I know it's your personal favourite too. It's the right colour, to be honest, isn't it? With green and the way that the Plymouth Argyle are doing and stuff, it's the right thing, isn't it? So Evergreen Assets has got to be in there in my short list, because it is a short list, and it does include that one. So yeah,
well, that's a big book. I mean, it's it's net 300 odd pages.
It took about 300 odd days. So yeah, so it's been amazing. It is good. I mean, it's the one that's got loads and loads of tips, and there's loads of practical advice. There's loads of things that you can do to improve your business and things that should be in place in order to get it going. So from that point of view, why wouldn't anybody read that particular book over and above the others? Appreciate Routine Machine and Big Ideas for Full Boys is more of a kind of, not quite an autobiography, but it is a kind of foundation to everything that we do. Routine Machine, yeah, absolutely, if you want to work on that, and that's your thing. But Evergreen Assets is the one thing I think which every small business owner needs to have a read, because actually getting those asset classes in place, getting the whole ecosystem in place is what sets their business apart from others, I think. So so is that enough smoke for you?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, it's free on Spotify Premium as well, if you wanted to listen to the audiobook. I think every time I reread it or listen to it, I pick something up, and I've wrote the bloody thing, because there's so much in there that is just, oh yeah, we should be doing that. Oh, we used to do that, but we haven't done that for 2 years. We haven't done that since the pandemic. Oh, let's get that going. Oh yeah, I know we should be doing that. And there's so much in there that is just easy to just pick something up and implement it and see a result.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, so that's your book of the year, yeah?
Does that mean I don't have to talk anymore about books? Yes.
No, you've promised us 3, so we should hear the silver and bronze medalists. I think we should hear as well.
Oh, have I got to put them in order now? Have I? Oh, I'm really, yeah, that's cool. Get Different. Mike McCallowich.
Oh, Mike McCallowich, yeah. Haven't read that one yet.
Have you not? Okay, no. So that's an interesting book. Kind of covers 3 different sections. First one's looking at yourself and your own comfort zone and moving out of that, and the importance and techniques on how to do that and to grow your hula hoop bigger, which I know we talk about that quite a lot. Second one is differentiation. You differentiating yourself and your business, and what makes you different than everybody else, and why would people do business with you rather than others, so to speak. And the last one, which is a common thread really, is that continuous improvement onto that as well. So actually, he's a big advocate of continuous improvement as well as everything else, and obviously that resonates with us particularly well. As everything we do is about leaving businesses 1% better each week. So that kind of fit into that last bit. So yeah, Get Different by Mike McCallowich.
Very good.
Is in there too.
It's a good job we're not playing Bullseye, because now you'd say spell Michalowicz.
Oh, I could do that, couldn't I? Can I have an M, please, Bob? Oh dear. And then thirdly is one I'm currently listening to. I'm getting towards the end of the book at the moment, and it kind of makes my top 3. And if I was not allowed to pick Evergreen Assets, because that's kind of an insider trading, I'll be picking this one. But if I have to pick Evergreen Assets, I'll pick that one for you. Whichever one you like is Diary of a CEO, the 33 Laws for Personal Business, which is a Stephen Bartlett number. Which is quite interesting, actually, because, it takes you kind of on his journey a little bit, but actually all of the tips and the tricks and the laws, as he calls them, on how to create yourself better and create your business better, and kind of the taking really out of all of his podcasts that he's done, the learnings that he's made from those, talking to those great people that he's had on his podcasts. So I think, the first bit kind of hit home with me a little bit more, and that was mastering yourself, as being the first law kind of thing, if you like, and actually making yourself better is what kind of creates the better you, which creates the better business, which creates the better life, and all the rest of it you kind of need to go on with. So he kind of talks about the buckets, and I know we like to talk about buckets a lot, don't we? So you've got things like the your knowledge. That's the first bucket you need to fill up, and I do really poorly at this because I read 1, 2 or 3 books a year, whereas you fill your buckets up quite quickly on the knowledge thing. But with the knowledge, you can then put that into a skill, and that skill then moves. The better you are at that skill, the better you are known for it, and that increases your network. And the network provides you with the resources, and then builds up your reputation and moves you on to be the big star that you could be. So kind of that's the mastering yourself part, really, which really kind of resonated. And I guess if I skipped through lots of the psychological bubble bits in between that he goes on about, I mean, one of his opening lines was what attracted me to the book, and that was I think people who write books say write far too many words on far too many pages. So I'm not going to do that here. I think he does, but he might be listening. So there's quite a bit of other things in there, and that's really, obviously some really important bits. But a bit which again struck out at me was that continuous improvement, and the thing that he kind of explained, or the story that he told in amongst that was about Toyota and how they make a million small improvements to the business every year, which are mainly led from the ground up, the factory workers, etc. They kind of put these little improvements in, but it's they make a million different improvements every year to their business, and that's kind of how they became number 1 in the world for the cars, and overtook the others. And that's only little tiny things each time. And I know again back to our 1% gains, it just makes that difference. And he said, often you don't make those small choices because it's easier not to. He said, I think one of the things was like brushing your teeth in the morning. It's easier not to brush your teeth. There's no consequence. If you don't brush your teeth today, it doesn't matter. But it's easier not. It's easier not to. So we don't do it. 20 years down the road, when they're pulling your teeth out, you realize actually those small changes, those small brushing your teeth every day will have stopped that from kind of happening. Really, that's the kind of thing. So it's actually really interesting that actually the small things we tend not to do because they just don't seem very significant, but actually it does make a huge difference over the long term. Yeah.
Interesting. So is it set up as 33 different chapters with 33 different rules or laws, and then
Kinda, I'd say kinda. Obviously, there's a few overlaps in terms of the first one, for example. Each of those buckets, I think, are a law. So the first law is to gain knowledge and then improve your skill. He talks about teaching as improving the skill. Because if you can teach it, then you get better. You become a better communicator. Effective communication means that you're a better negotiator. You get less arguments, less problems with staff, blah blah blah. And it's all about it. It does flow really nicely through. Do this, then this makes this better, then that makes this better, then that makes this better. Tell better stories, believe in yourself. All of those kind of things come into it as well. But I enjoyed it. It's or enjoying it. I haven't quite got to the end. I think we're on to teams next, which is probably the last part of that. But building effective teams around you. But yeah. And it was interesting to hear about his big blue slide, which I've heard a couple of times now. But first time I'd heard it was in the book.
What's the story behind that?
So again, being different and going out a bit differently, when he first set up his first company in Manchester, the first building that he had a massive space, and he put a big blue slide in there. And that's what everybody was reporting. That's what made the press. That's what made people came along to come and see his big blue slide. It didn't matter what he was doing in terms of social stuff. It was more about this big blue slide, and that was the differentiator. And it wasn't, oh, did you see that post he did? It was like, oh, have you been on this big blue slide? And that was the thing. So people talked about it. He talked about a couple of other examples of gyms with big climbing wall in the foyer and various other things like that. But it was actually, what is that differentiation? So what's going to make people talk about you?
Yeah, that's interesting, because when we all start our businesses, the first thing we do is look around at what everyone else is doing and copy them. And we go, right, I'm going to be the same as everyone else. I'm going to start a gym. What do gyms look like? They look like this. Right, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run a social media company. What does every other social media company do? Right, we're going to look like that. Yeah, it's the successful people, the ones who go, how can I stand out? How can I be different? And again, it's, you go to school and they teach you how to fit in and how to be like everyone else and how to be average. And then 10 years later, 15 years later, you're working for the guy who didn't conform and didn't fit in and did stand out and did put a blue slide in his office. That's because Stephen Bartlett's from Plymouth. That's the reason that he's been successful.
Never mentions that in anything he does.
No, I don't think he's particularly proud of the fact he's from Plymouth.
Botswana, I think he was born. Was it something like that? Somewhere like that. And then came to Plymouth and got expelled. That was something. He was expelled at the age of 15 or 16 for poor attendance, 30% or something like that. I
think he would have gone to the same school as you, didn't he?
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah, he did. And then
15 years later, maybe 20. I don't know. How old is he? He's 30, isn't he?
It could be.
Yeah, 20 years after you then.
Potentially. Who knows? Anyway, so he got expelled and then unexpelled because he was making the school some money by setting up vending machine things and all sorts of other stuff. But very interesting chap, to be honest. And I think you said something about his. One of the other things was really interesting, actually, if I've got time just to talk about that, was the fact that his micro improvements that he does within his business. So he's got the Diary of a CEO podcast, and there's 40 different things that he looks at before actually recording it, kind of thing. And that's everything from the welcome that the guest gets when they come into the office, or the temperature is controlled so that it's most comfortable for them so they can open up. They're playing their favorite music so they relax when they kind of get there, all sorts of stuff like that, which he talks about in the book, which is really interesting when we put ours together the way we do, which is
we just go, all the microphones on. We made that mistake once.
Can you hear me? I'm unmuted.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting, the amount of things he does. And I think there was something like 40 different headlines for each of his videos that he puts out on.
They annoy me. They really do annoy me. And
he tests them really times or something like that beforehand, 40 different versions of the same thing before they actually find the absolute correct one. And he said about
this is the problem. When you hand over to AI and algorithms, you end up saying, well, that gets the most clicks, but it might get the most clicks, it might get the most listens, but it gets people going, you've tricked me. You've overpromised and under-delivered there. And that's my little, I love, Stephen, if you're listening, we love you. Do come on our podcast, won't you? Or invite me on yours, I don't mind. But I love the podcast and the content itself is great. But the clickbaity, sensationalist, you won't believe this one food will cause all cancers. Like, no, please, Stephen, just tone it down.
As I say, he's done testing, he split tests that.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. That's
loads and loads of variations in order to increase his listen time, because his listen time was something like 8% listen to 25% of the video, whatever else like that. So the length of the video has all been tested. That's the bit. That's those micro improvements in order to get to the stage where he's at now, and how he was able to grow his channel from fairly mediocre to the fastest growing one, I think, in the top 100 or something that he claims. So it's just that actually he's doing micro improvements. So that's another. Actually, it was a bit of a roll there, wasn't it, with the Evergreen assets and differentiation and getting better and making improvements. And
it was almost like you planned it. That's pretty good.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, well, I'm going to try and whiz through mine fairly quickly, because I do like to talk about books.
Oh, that's really good. Just trying to go to the first one, just go to the top one.
No, I've got plenty to say. So
is Evergreen assets your top one?
So no, none of I've ruled mine out again. Otherwise, it'd be right. False exits number 1, Evergreen assets number 2, routine machine number 3, and an honorary 4th place with big ideas for small businesses.
And if you listen to books, he's not judging you in any particular order.
Okay, right. So I've got some contenders, and I'll just sort of say, so I've read a couple of Richard Koch books this year, so famous for the 80-20 principle. I've read some of his other books. I've kind of lumped these in together, Simplify and the STAR principle. So I've read this more as an investor than as a business owner, because we run lifestyle businesses, ambitious lifestyle businesses. But if you were looking to disrupt an industry by either making something exponentially better, cheaper, easier to use, then Simplify is a fantastic, really how to connect the dots, paint by numbers, how to shave 90% off the price of something or make it so frictionless it's unbelievable. The STAR principle is about becoming the market leader in a high growth sector, which all just comes down to compounding. You compound faster than everyone else at really, really quick rates, so that because that compounding happens so quickly at such a great rate, and this is AI, is a STAR principle. 3 years from now, you can't be caught because you've compounded those gains so much that, and this was why allegedly Elon Musk wanted to have a 6-month pause on AI, because he knew without a 6-month pause, he could never catch up. With a 6-month pause, he got 6 months to scrabble back to where everyone else was, because it's such a high growth sector. So yeah, 2 books there for the price of 1. I'm conflicted as to which of these is going to be my book of the year. No, I'm going to go with that. So second place, I'm going to go for the second place is going to go to a book called The Road Back to You. This is by 2 authors, Ian Morgan Cron and Suzanne Stabile. And this is a book about personality profiles, and in particular, the Enneagram, ENNEAGRAM profile. Now, I've never really been into kind of personality profiling. I've always felt it was a bit like horoscopes and stuff like that. But I heard Tim Ferriss and the founder of Asana having a discussion about their Enneagram profiles. I was like, if it's good enough for these two, and those are not airy-fairy come-by-our people, it's good enough for me. And they both recommended this book, so I went and listened to the book. And in the book, they go through, I think there's 9, it's either 9 or 14. So there's a number of personality profiles, and in each one, they walk you through. So these are some statements that people of this type might make. So let's see if you recognize anyone from this description. People have told me I can be overly critical and judgmental. Details are really important to me. I often find that I'm comparing myself to others. If I say I'll do it, I'll do it. I have a lot of self-discipline. I spend a lot of time thinking about how I could be a better person. I notice immediately when things are wrong or out of place. I am sorry. I'll try not to laugh there. I am really disappointed when other people don't do their part. And finally, see if you recognize anyone in this description. I like routine and don't readily embrace change. So the entire book, I listened to it on audio, and I'm listening to each of these sections, and I'm hearing different elements. So I'm going, oh yeah, that sounds like this person. Oh, I think that person's either this or that one. And then it got to that one. I went, oh, that's me. That's bloody. And literally, they read off 20. I mean, I've read 8, 9 statements. There's 20 statements, and every one of them was like, yep. Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah. Yep. That's me. Like, okay, I think I've found me. So in terms of, going into just figuring out why you are the way you are, why you think the way you are, and how you see the world. Because what that shows you is pretty much everyone fits into one of these buckets. And if you understand that that is how I see the world, you can't communicate to me in a different way. Because no, that's not how the world works. The world is like this for me. And if I'm a type 1 and I'm having a conversation, I'm making this up, with a type 7, we're going to be at loggerheads unless I know that they're a type 7 and realize why they see things the way they do. So, okay. For me, it's understanding that, and this is probably why it works well as a business coach who does constant never-ending improvement, have a lot of self-discipline, a lot of time thinking about how it could be better, noticing immediately when things are wrong. We've just had a hot seat session and we can immediately get down to the nub of the problem. And you go, okay, right, you've got this problem here. I do like routines, and I am really disappointed when other people don't do their part. We've known for years I don't like other people.
Yeah, we have. I don't. I'm not sure I believe in it, because when I did it, it turned me out as an entertainer. Apparently, that's the type of personality that I am, and I don't see how that. I don't see how that resonates for me whatsoever.
Oh, we might need to have a conversation about this after the podcast, I think, because I used I used AI. I used ChatGPT and said, I think I'm this type, but can you ask me some questions to help me make sure? And it just said, certainly can. How do you feel in this scenario? How does this make you feel? Do you get more energized by this or by that? And I answered those questions and it went, yep, you're a type 1. So yeah, let's have a conversation afterwards, because I did picture you in a few of them. And this was the problem. I couldn't pigeonhole you and say, that's you.
Right.
Because it was, yeah. Oh, Jason's definitely that one. No, hang on a minute. He could be this one. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But they do say you can be like 1 with a little bit of either one each side. So you could be a 1 with a 9 or 1 with a 2, for example.
Okay.
But you can't be a 1 with a 7.
Is that okay?
Apparently so.
Yeah. That's to say interesting, but yeah, damn it.
Anyway, if you're interested in that sort of thing, the road back to you, Ian Morgan-Cron and Susan Stabile. It is a little bit religious, and the origins are in religion, but you don't need to be religious to do it. And he's actually very funny, and it's very well written. So yeah, go for it. But my book of the year is Outlive by Dr. Peter Attia. It's cover out on this shelf behind me, which is always a good sign that it's a good read. I won't go too much into it because we've done an entire podcast pretty much around it. Listen back to our episode with Matt Fox from earlier in the year. The title of that podcast was To Live Longer, Get Stronger. I want to say that's like episode 102, maybe 103.
So yeah,
round about then. But it is about living well for longer. It's primarily it's about longevity, but this is a superpower for anybody. And I've said for years that the greatest thing I can do to grow wealth in my lifetime is live longer, is just have a longer lifetime. Warren Buffett says the 3 reasons he's been successful: living in America for the opportunities, you see, compound interest, which we talk about again, and good DNA, good genes. In other words, living to a ripe old age. He's currently 94. I believe. Charlie Munger, by the way, is 100 next month, New Year's Day. Happy birthday, Charlie. 100 years old. That's our aim, is to just outlive everyone else. And that is how Munger and Buffett have succeeded. 99% of their wealth came after their 50th birthday, Jace. So there's hope for us yet.
There is, yeah, definitely.
We've just got to last another 5 decades.
Did they win the lottery when they turned 50? Was that what happened?
No, didn't. And that was, I think, last year's book of the year, Psychology of Money. Morgan Housel said, if Warren Buffett had disappeared to the golf course at 65 with his hundreds of millions, no one would have heard of him. Instead, he kept compounding for another 3 decades, and suddenly he's, 100 billionaire. And giving 99% away. So how do you beat the competition? You outlive them. How do you build products that outlive everything else? How do you nurture, generate relationships that outlive everyone else? That's my superpower, is I'm just going to outlive everyone else. I don't need to get a greater return on investment than everyone else. I don't need to work harder than everyone else. I just need to outlive them. I just need to survive. And we've talked about AI. Great. We need to roll with the punches there. We need to adapt, because that's how we're going to outlive, is by accepting AI is coming. What do we need to do to survive it, but also to leverage it? There we go. Outlive Peter Attia and Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett / Evergreen Assets, John Hamilton.
That's book of the year. Sorry.
Fantastic. I look forward to you've got some good books there, and different ones to me as well. So I like that.
Good.
Yeah.
And
so let's round up. We announced last year the inaugural Pink Flamingo Award, didn't we? The award that we give every year to the 1%er who spent the most amount of kind of complete days not working in their business, the way they can get their most time away from the business. Now, we're not actually going to announce a winner today. We're going to do that at the 1% Club Christmas party in a few weeks' time. But I think we can talk about a few of the contenders who may be receiving a 4-foot-high inflatable pink flamingo from us.
Who may be so pleased to win this award.
I've never seen grown business owners, like successful entrepreneurs, so competitive over a 17 quid inflatable flamingo before.
Although Michelle was so pleased to receive it and tried to give it back straight same day, I think.
Oh dear.
But, yes, she's been I suppose talk about the previous incumbent, really. I guess she's been continuing the mission of this year with getting out of the business and being on holiday and getting abroad as well. So she managed a fair few weeks abroad, something like 20 or something, I think, this last year, and we've still got more to go, I think. So she's managed to do that, which is great. I don't think any of our contenders quite still meet up to Michelle and her ambition to be able to be abroad in these cold winter months. But who else have we got then, John?
Yeah, I think if we were being completely analytical about it and said it's whoever's had the most complete days, it's Michelle again. But in the interest of actually someone else getting a look in, I think there's a few that are on the radar. I mentioned we just had a coaching call, and one of our 1%ers on there, Nathan, runs a travel company, which is cheating a little bit, I think, isn't it? Because if you're on a travel company, then just, I'm traveling the world. It's kind of work. But this one line really, really leapt out because we were talking about Nathan's got a fantastic opportunity landed on his lap, literally in the last week, which could see him double his business, in his words, quite easily. Just like that. And someone sort of grilled him and said, how's that going to look like? How's it going to affect your lifestyle? If you double the business pretty much overnight, how is that going to affect your lifestyle? And Nathan just replied with, well, it won't really, because I don't really do much. I've got a great team. I've got great systems. Everything's automated. I just plug the new business into the machine and the machine does the work. So yeah, we'll carry on as we are, really. And when you think that we're talking about a multi-million turnover business here, that's not small fry. But yeah, just that attitude of, I could double my business. I could do literally twice as much volume, twice as much business, twice as much turnover, employ a load of new people, and it wouldn't really affect my lifestyle because I still want to climb mountains. And again, you can hear Nathan. What was the title of his podcast? I've got a 150-year goal, wasn't it?
Yes.
Including climbing Everest.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Nathan, Alistair is another one, isn't it? Alistair Imray. He's really come on leaps and bounds over the last couple of years, hasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. From somebody who couldn't take holidays at all or couldn't get out of the business at all. We worked on that in his first year of being with us. Actually, he joined in March, and in that first period of time, I was like, well, what do you want to do? Well, I want to take a couple of weeks of holiday in the summer. I was like, okay, well, what are we going to do first? Then we're going to need to build up to that. Let's see. Should we have a week off? Let's see. He said, you mean one of our first coaching calls and you're telling me I've got to take a week's holiday? I'm kind of liking this 1% club. And so from there on in, really, it's he's, I think his ultimate goal is to move abroad, but he's got that business that he wants to grow to fund it and things. So yeah. He's spent quite a bit of time out of the country this year. Not quite as much as Michelle, but in terms of where he was and where he's been, it's yeah.
I mean, from memory, it wasn't even just the holiday. It was, I want to get off the tools. It was, I am stuck on the tools doing the work, and I physically can't do anything else. And to think you're now fast forwarded to, he's got a place in Spain. Right, I'm going to spend a couple of months over there. I can do a bit while I'm here. It's like, man, you've gone from, I can't stop doing the do, I can't stop working on the tools, to, yeah, I've got a place in Spain that I can kind of escape to. Yeah, it's not it's not the finished article. It's not the lifestyle he wants yet. But my God, the strides he's made. And again, another former guest on the podcast. That was our September issue. I think I refused to take no for an answer. And again, if someone says, no, I'm sorry, Alistair, you can't have that lifestyle. No, he's not accepting that, because he's seen it's possible. He knows it's possible, and he's doing what needs to be done to work himself towards it. So yeah, I think that's good one. Any other obvious candidates?
In the same category is Ross. I think he's another one. I think he's somebody else who fits in that same category about getting off the tools and wanted to be away and stuff like that, and has managed to do some of that this year. So I think he's in there. The person who founded our thing, I think we should.
The inspiration for the flamingo in itself, yeah.
Ian should be in amongst there, I think, in there as well, because he's had a fair few times out of his businesses and things as well. So yeah, I think there's a few in there.
Yeah, I think the thing with Ian, I think in particular, is Ian is ambitious, and I think we interviewed him a couple of years ago on the podcast. How I built a property empire in 15 minutes. These titles are all coming back to me. And we spoke on there about, he's got 4 kids. He's got a golf habit and he's got a full-time job, and he's a, property investor, property educator, property sourcer. And how does he fit all this in? Surely that's the hustle culture. Surely he hasn't got a lifestyle. No, lifestyle still comes first. And everything he does is around family holidays. How many times have we seen the flamingo from the original source of the flamingo? That's what comes first. And the business, the day job, the golf, everything like that is about the passion and the inspiration for the project, the lifestyle that he wants to have and that he wants to provide for his family. We've always said, this is, what are we on now? Episode like 107, something like that, 108. We've asked over 100 times, what does an ambitious lifestyle business look like for you? And we've had over 100 different answers. So, there's no reason why for one person it's climbing Everest. For another, it's keeping the day job and playing golf. For others, it's just not working on the tools. But it's entirely personal. It's entirely up to you how ambitious you want to be. We're not here to tell you need to be X ambitious or less ambitious. And your lifestyle, that's up to you. Do you want a place in Spain? Do you just want a quiet life? Do you want a Ferrari on the driveway? If that's the lifestyle you want and you're truly willing to pay the price, go for it. Generate that in 2024.
So yeah, 2024 is coming up very soon.
It is
indeed, which is scary. It'd be interesting to see, actually, because we always have our go for the year, don't we, with our 1%ers. So it'll be really interesting to see what everyone's take is for next year. That's going to be. I always like that call, because see what their ambitions are at the beginning of the year, and then it is.
It's always nice to revisit it at the end of the year and say, "Oh, do you remember when you said?" Because we only ask for one thing, don't we? We say every year, what's the one thing? If you achieve nothing else in this year, but this one thing, the year's been a success. And going back to people at the end of the year and them going, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. But hey, I had some fun on social media.
Absolutely. So for the listeners, the exercise is that one thing for 2024 that you'd like to achieve by the end of it, and that system to get you there. What's going to enable you to achieve that one go? That's a bit of homework for you over the Christmas period. Do hope you all have a nice, safe Christmas, and it's not too wintry and stuff. We'll see how that turns out in a week or so. But yeah, take care of yourselves and each other over that time, and we'll see you all in the new year.
See you next year, guys. Bye-bye.
So there we are, another episode in the can. How was it for you? Please let us know. However you listen to these podcasts, please leave a review on that platform. Let us know what we can do better, what you like, what you don't like, and how we can improve to make this show even better for you. We'll see you next time.